So I'm Ryan Marr, and I'm here with Doug Detrick from the Portland Jazz Composers Ensemble, and we're here to talk about his upcoming composition, Come Hell or High Water, which will be featured at our concert on February 21st at Secret Society. Give us the title of the concert again?
Steel and Concrete, Water and Rock.
Yes, the Bonneville Dam and music.
Right.
And the Bonneville Dam has a lot of meaning in this region, and we're going to talk some about that hopefully, but I kind of wanted to pick Doug's brain on how he came up with this composition. We haven't even heard it yet. Our rehearsal is coming up pretty soon. That'll be our introduction to the piece, but I kind of just wanted to go through and pick his brain to see how he came up with the composition in general. So maybe, can you tell us how you got started?
I can. So the piece started when I started working on a song. And the reason I started writing a song was because I listened to a lot of folk music, and there were all kinds of everything from the blues to gospel to ballads. And when I was just kind of reading about the Bonneville Dam's history to get an idea of what I was, something to write about, I found out that the Bonneville Power Administration actually hired Woody Guthrie to come and write songs about the dam and about the project and about hydroelectricity and kind of that perspective of progress in the Northwest.
Wow, so there was like already music about the dam.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
They actually made a documentary that was it was finished and released a few years after the dam was built. But Woody came to Portland and then went out to the dam, and he called it a paradise here.
Okay.
He loved his time in Oregon, but I guess it didn't end all that well because his wife wanted to stay and he wanted to go back to New York.
Okay.
And so he went back to New York and his wife stayed here with his kids. So maybe it didn't go so well. But yeah, he wrote a bunch of songs. And one thing that he did that was inspiring was that he used a lot of existing folk tunes, and he just wrote new lyrics to them, and he'd take a verse from one song and a chorus from another and just kind of slam them together and write some new words, which is really normal. That's kind of what folk music is all about in some ways.
Cool. So maybe the vibe of the song being folk was kind of what started you off down the road of composing for the Bonneville Dam. That's cool. Especially since I'm kind of seeing the folk relationship even before the Woody Guthrie reference, because it just conjures up like Americana. It happened. The construction happened during the Work Progress Administration.
Yep.
Yeah. It conjures up notions of folksiness.
Yeah.
So that's cool that you were able to tie in the Woody Guthrie thing. Let's talk about like the music of it. Some. Did you have a motive or?
About the taking other songs. I took another song of somebody else's and wrote lyrics. I changed the melody a bit, changed the chords a little bit, but I used the song by a singer-songwriter from Montreal named Lasse de Sala, which is coincidental. It's just a song that I was listening to in the rest of my life, not having to do with the PJCE or the Bonneville Dam.
Yeah.
So I took that. I used that. Her song only has one section. It only has a verse. There's no chorus. So I used that as my verse, and then eventually I said, this song, I really do want a chorus, so I wrote a chorus.
Cool.
And then I wrote a few verses, and I wrote a chorus of lyrics as well, and so you're actually going to hear the band sing the chorus.
Yeah, I saw your email about that. We got to talk about that. I'm the worst singer in the world.
That's probably good enough. That would help.
Yeah, I guess maybe the folk vibe, you want kind of like bad singing.
Yeah, as long as it's loud.
Yeah. So. Nice. Cool. So borrowed or stole from someone, that's cool. Did you write it on piano? Did you write it on guitar?
I wrote it on guitar. Yeah,
okay.
My guitar is back here.
Yeah, I saw that back there.
Next to my trumpet.
Very cool. So Doug's going to show us how some of the music was actually developed. He's going to kind of walk us through some of the compositional part of this. I was just thinking that it's kind of funny to hear that Woody Guthrie thing with the Bonneville Dam, and then Bob Dylan being like coming straight out of Woody Guthrie, and he mentions the Grand Coulee Dam in Idiot Wind on Blood on the Tracks. So it's like the two folk guys have their name on the dams in the Northwest. Yeah.
Huh. My guitar is out of tune, which is perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
That's the verse.
Cool. Is that what I'm playing on guitar? When
yeah.
Okay.
More or less. Your part. I mean, so I started with me doing this, which is like, me playing guitar terribly in my studio. And then I would kind of say, okay, so now somebody who can actually play the guitar, maybe they would like a part that did this. So I'll write a part that is a little bit harder than I can actually play, but that it is more interesting, to listen to. So let's see. Yeah, so you're doing. So I wrote you like. Like I gave you these double stops.
Okay. Kind of like intentional, open string sounding mistakey things. That's cool.
Yeah. And with these intervals kind of on the lower strings that you wouldn't normally want, such small intervals like that. Like we're playing major thirds like that, or major seconds like that, right? So they're in your part.
Yeah.
So have fun with that. So then I had a melody, and I had.
So how'd you develop the melody? Or you said you borrowed it from...
Yeah, it's a bit similar to that tune. The tune's called Fool's Gold by Lassa de Sala. Her song is like very... it's kind of about breaking up, about being like, I can't believe what you did to me, but I'm fine. It's that sort of thing. So it kind of had this very declamatory sort of powerful sort of vibe to it, which I really liked, and that comes through in the melody that I wrote. That was kind of inspired by that.
Great. You said you wrote lyrics to it, right?
I did, yeah.
That's cool.
We're not going to sing all of them. I just couldn't really think of a way for it to really work, and I didn't want you guys to sing that much, just because,
You definitely do not want me singing that much.
but if I have you guys singing the chorus, that's going to work great, I think.
Cool.
So once I had the tune, the whole song, then it was just a matter of like, thinking about, okay, so I put in an introduction that is not really like, if Woody Guthrie was introducing a song, he'd maybe strum the chords for a little while. He might talk, but I mean it's all just like whatever he wanted to do. So for me, I was like, well, what would I want to do if I had a band that could play this introduction? So I wrote a lot of things that were using intervals, like a lot of major nines. In different ways, and then moving things around in the key. So it has more of a, it's not so much based on that melody, but it's, very kind of mysterious and textural.
Okay.
And then this simple kind of folk melody comes out of that.
Great. So did you try to capture anything like symbolically, like the sound of water, or the notion of like water, the river crashing, anything like that? Did you? No.
For me, it was about that. Just about kind of the connection with Woody Guthrie.
Okay.
But then it was also about the spirit of, a lot of people, when they were talking about building the Bonneville Dam, I believe it was the first dam on the Columbia. And so a lot of people were just like, how can you do that? You know, it's
Right.
just impossible. But you know, a lot of smart people figured it out and they made it work. And so it's just kind of, and that's even with, you know, there's also that, you know, feeling that it wasn't so simple as that. So I think that, you know, and by that I mean just like, I mean, yeah, of course, it was this great engineering achievement,
Yeah.
and lots of people working hard and doing hard, dangerous work to make this happen. It also kind of, you know, irreversibly changed the landscape of the Columbia River Gorge and of the whole Northwest in some ways that, you know, are complicated. You know, we can't, for instance, you know, just all of the Native American artifacts that are just underwater now.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Either, you know, I mean, all kinds of things that were just covered up.
Yeah.
And are gone forever. So, you know, so I think that the piece reflects that a little bit in that it's not just about this simple folk melody that's really powerful and you know, talking about look at what we can do with hard work, but it's also a little bit about look at how complicated this is. And even though it's great that we did this, you know, we did this monumental achievement, there are still all these other complex ideas and feelings and loss just as much as we gained the dam, but we also lost these other things.
Great.
So I think that's in there too.
Great. Very great. And we saw you playing a little bit of piano there, showing the chords. So did anything get written from this piece on the piano?
Yeah, absolutely. So once I had the kind of the basic tune written, then I kind of went to the piano.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I guess after the piano, then I would go to the computer. And so once you go into the computer and go into the notation software, I could even pull that up. But
Okay.
I think this part here, in terms of like when you do go to the computer, you kind of have this option of being able to kind of move things around in chunks. You know, things that are easier for a computer to do, but not as easy when you have to erase everything and then
Right.
you do it by hand. So I think when I'm coming down to smaller details for the piece, like I already know that, you know, I have 8 bars to do this thing where everybody goes up and it ends really loud and there's a big loud chord and then we cut off. I know that I'm going to do that. That was the creative decision that I made a while ago. But then when I finally get to notation software, then you can start, you know, you might say, well, I don't quite like that voicing, I can change it a little bit here. And so I'll make usually small adjustments like that.
Do you ever write stuff out by hand before you take it to the computer, or is that what you did
Yeah,
on this?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, let me show you. This is also a major part of my composition process. This coffee cup. So this is some sketches from it. So I wrote.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I started.
I mean, there's sketches, but
Yeah, this is the melody. When I finally decided what the melody was going to look like.
okay.
I was writing out. This is the instrumentation.
Okay.
And then I just kind of made some really broad ideas about that. I think later on, I ended up writing these 2 systems up here. These are both. This is the melody on the top line,
Okay.
like going there. And then I wrote this bass line that was kind of a counter melody that I thought was going to turn out to be a really important part of the piece. And then I ended up not using it ever.
Oh, interesting. So that'll be saved for later.
Maybe. But yeah, but then the rest of the introduction is all written out here. After that, I kind of went to trying to graph out the piece, and then this kind of got me started, but I ended up not doing a lot of the stuff that's in there anyway.
Okay.
So I think for me, you know, I think when I started to try to write with this chart like this, I was maybe trying to do it like a dam engineer, you know, who had everything planned out, everything drawn out, and knew exactly how it was going to go. But, you know, since I'm not an engineer, like a lot of times I find that those ideas are, you know, those first. Of course, I mean, I'm sure that an engineer make tons and tons of revisions before they get to the final score. Final score, you know, to the final drafts. you know, I'm sure they throw out tons of stuff that's not going to work because of the math or because of the materials or whatever. And so music is actually, you know, I was going to say that it's not similar at all, but actually I'd like to talk to somebody who's actually designed a dam or anything else so big as that, but maybe talk about, I'm sure that there are a lot of things that are the same.
Yeah,
maybe we should get an architect to talk.
So we saw trumpet back there. Doug's a trumpet player in the group as well. Did you write anything on trumpet? Did you? No, nothing was written on trumpet. No. Interesting.
What I want to tell you about this concert is that the music is going to be great. But the other thing that's going to be great about this concert is that you get to see all the people that have come together to produce it. And there are tons of people. All the board members of the PJCE, all the musicians, all the volunteers that have done work. We've had great support from Secret Society, the venue, and they've been really helpful in helping us put together these concerts. And there's more. There are more people that I can't even name. There are also lots of community business owners that have donated some like gift certificates and other things that you can come bid on at a silent auction. And so there's this huge community that's come together to help make this concert happen. And we'd really love to see you there and be a part of it.
Great. Well, thanks for letting me pick your brain on composing, and please come out to the concert and enjoy the show.
Yeah.